Welcome to the Four Visions Market Podcast, a space built on the principles of integrity and reciprocity. Together, we will engage in thought-provoking conversations about plant medicines, why these plants are coming out of the rainforests, jungles, and mountains after thousands of years, and what it means to be in right relationship with the ancestral wisdom cultures and guardians of these traditions. I'm your host, Mariah Ganessa, founder and director of Four Visions Market. This podcast is the natural evolution in our commitment to providing you, our tribe, with incredible resources to support you on your healing journey through plant medicines. Welcome home. Welcome back, Four Visions family. Thank you for joining us for another beautiful episode of the Four Visions podcast. I am so excited to be joined by an incredible woman, powerful healer and leader, Chrissie, co-founder of the Mana movement. Chrissie has always been guided by the excitement of empowering people to be creators. Named chaqaruna, or bridge person, by the Keru, wisdom keepers of the Andes, Chrissie's North Star is activating and rewilding humanity with modern and Indigenous wisdom, reminding people of what is already inside but forgotten or suppressed. Chrissie has been facilitating transformational weekends, workshops, and retreats around the world intensively since 2012, moving online also in 2017. The journey of motherhood has greatly shaped Chrissie's path, raising her two wild children, traveling the world and sitting in sacred ceremonies, learning from elders. Chrissie has roots in activism, beginning at Greenpeace in the press office in the UK in 2000, combining her passions for communication with service, and has launched numerous campaigns in frontline activism, mainly in water conservation and most recently on the New Earth Council as part of the Humanidad Foundation. As an artist, Chrissie was signed to Virgin Records, has toured and created albums, and continues to use her love of poetry, singing, and frequency to complement her style of leadership. Her spiritual path led her to the Peruvian Andes in 2012, when she was initiated as Chuyu Chakera, or Sweat Lodge Mama Kona, in 2017. Simply, Chrissie draws from conscious motherhood and Indigenous wisdom to inspire her community back to the natural truth of things. Welcome, Chrissie, to the Four Visions podcast. It's a pleasure to connect with you and just give you a warm welcome. I'm feeling really excited for our conversation today, and just reading the bio, introducing you, feeling a lot of connection and resonance as a mother myself who has been walking this path with the plants and Indigenous wisdom. I know that we have a lot that we can talk about today and connect with on. And so thank you for being here, and just want to give you space to elaborate a little bit on anything else I might have missed to that introduction, as well as just maybe pose a question to you to begin the conversation as far as who you are and what your mission is on this earth. What did Chrissie come here to do?
Oh, let's go straight into the big picture, actually. I love you. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I just want to say I'm really honoured. I feel deeply honoured when anyone chooses to spend some time with me and ask me about my view of things, my life. I just feel really honoured by that. So thank you very much. What am I here to do? I am here to activate people. I'm sure it's around that. That's what I seem to do best. That's what I see. It seems to bring me the most joy, and the path that Great Spirit has laid out for me. I really didn't sort of think at all about my path, in life. It was just always very clear and laid out in front of me. And so, yes, it seems to be that, I I had a gathering a few weeks back, Ashley, and a beautiful sister came along who was a student of mine. for a good few years, a solid student, and then became very dear friend. And we hadn't worked together for many years. And she came back to an event and just, wanted to dip back in, to the medicine, to my medicine. And she said, "Shit, Chrissie, you're just a firecracker. You just put the firecracker under everyone's ass." So, I think it's got something to do with that, Ashley. Like, my medicine is fire medicine, and I'm passionate about people's inherent power, just like how powerful we are, how powerful our love is. I get so excited about that. And so, I see that in
Mm.
people immediately. I can see how powerful they are immediately, and I kind of talk directly to that power. So I think that's what I'm here to do. Yeah.
That's such a beautiful medicine, and it's so needed at this time in humanity's evolution. We are needing that wake up call, that firecracker, that ignition, right? To dust off all the cobwebs and allow us to see the truth and wake up. So, what a beautiful thing to be dedicated to and to know as your personal medicine. Of course, it ties in with being a fire keeper. And I would love to hear more about that journey as well. How is it for you being a tender and a keeper of the fire as a woman? And how has that journey been balancing the divine masculine energy of fuego, of fire, and utilizing it in harmony with your sacred feminine power?
Oh, that's an amazing question.
Mhm.
That's such an interesting question. Firstly, I just want to clarify, when you're asking me about keeping the fire, are you talking just about my inherent fire medicine or the fire in Sweat Lodge?
The fire in the sweat lodge was how I
Mhm,
kind of
mhm.
tied it together with you saying that you also have fire medicine.
Thank you. Well, in Andean Sweat Lodge, in Chaka, the Mama Kona, which is my position to hold the ceremony, we do not tend the fire.
Okay.
So I have a fire keeper. In the ceremony of Chaka, we have four direction keepers that hold the ceremony together. And my position is in water. So Mum Kona holds the water position. She holds the ceremony in its entirety. But yes, there is a brother who tends the fire, and then once the rocks are brought in, he holds the position of fire, the eastern door, the first door of the ceremony.
Mm.
So I don't have to hold that part, but I do have to guide him to hold that part. And I am training him to, you know, deepen his relationship and communication with fire, which he does beautifully. Um, so yeah, that's not, I don't have to do that role in the physical with that ceremony.
But even so, you are working with the fire through the sweat lodge being part of your path, right? It's much different
Absolutely.
than other medicine paths. And when we take the path of the Temazcal, or in your case, the Andes sweat, it is, a deep relationship with fire, with heat. And so even if you're not tending it, you definitely have a very intimate relationship to the energy.
That's right. And as far as I see it, my relationship is with all of those elements,
Mhm.
is just as strong. Although, fire really kind of is my blueprint. I came in with a huge amount of fire in my being, in the cards I was dealt, let's say. Like, I just came in with a lot of it. So I've had to work with toning that down, actually.
Mhm.
In my immaturity, in my soul. Yeah, as I said, it's like in my immaturity,
Yep.
wow, like the fire was out of control. The
Mhm.
fire was something that would engulf me, and therefore others. I had to, really, as I said, I really was gifted. I can only put it that way, with a lot of it, but it has been something to temper and to understand the power of its misuse, of its imbalance. So my journey with fire has been very intimate, through life. Um, but now I feel I'm, more than ever, in a place where I have, yeah, learned how to use it masterfully, where it is transmutative, of course, but it is graceful,
Mm.
and this is something that we often talk about in our sweat lodge ceremonies at Mana, in the Chulyu Chakra, how fire can be so easily misunderstood because it's so closely linked to power.
Mhm.
Um, and power has had a bad rap on our planet because of so much misuse of power, that the word power can even trigger people. But fire in its power, is, of course, as we know, incredibly transmutative and incredibly transformational, the fission of fire. But it's graceful,
Mm.
it's graceful. And yeah, I love that. I always remind myself of that Christie, this fire, come on, this fire can be graceful. Let it be graceful. And so, yes,
Mm.
it's been a journey, my sister, with fire for myself. But
Mm.
I'm still learning, of course, still learning, still fine tuning. But yeah, me and fire go way back. So I feel.
Oh my goodness, what a beautiful reflection and what a beautiful ally to have walked with so intimately and just really feeling so many beautiful teachings just with this conversation going into that theme of fire, specifically with the maturation of womanhood and what you were speaking to regarding learning how to calm our inner fire. And I just so deeply resonate with that process. And I think I'm a little bit closer to that um, taming process than perhaps you are. But I have been, very recently going through that passage of really recognizing um, that fire is an ally and can be utilized in that way, but um, what that means to tame the inner fire, the inner passion, to understand that when it's unruly or when it's not in balance, it often, like you were saying, it manifests in this tendency of reactivity or not being in your power, letting that fire rule you or drive your reactions or emotions. And so it's such a beautiful comparison and note that you made of the journey of womanhood and maturation and coming into our power being very closely related to the fire energy. And of course, not all people, not all women have that fiery tendency, but for a woman who does, and myself, I have had that and struggled with that. It is very closely tied to the process of maturation and growing in our wisdom, learning when to use the fire, how to use the fire in a constructive way, right? In a way that helps us to root deep into the center of our feminine power, the womb of creation, to act from that place of vigilance, of clarity, of the energy of purification to cut through anything that isn't the truth. There's so many beautiful characteristics that fire teaches us that oftentimes is very much spoken about in relationship to the masculine energies. And so I just am really appreciating this conversation in this moment because I do completely agree that there's so many parallels and teachings as it relates to the feminine mastery of self.
That's so interesting. And I loved what you talked about when you said, it's knowing when to use it, because at times it is absolutely appropriate for our fire to rage. It
Mm.
is absolutely appropriate. If we just look at nature, like forest fires, natural forest fires that regenerate the forest, volcanic fire, creating new earth. Like, it is appropriate that the fire does rage. I think, where we could look, I guess, to understand whether it's appropriate or not is the field, rather than, oh, this is just coming up in me, therefore it must be appropriate. No, no, no. What is happening outside?
Mhm.
Is this reaction, is bringing this fire right now appropriate to the situation? Because, you know, when we have a lot of fire, it just comes from within. It can engulf us, and it might not be, like you said, it's not appropriate. But as Jesus, right now on the planet with this much muck going
Mm,
on, it is absolutely appropriate to bring it through as strongly as it needs to come through at times, for sure. And it's funny when I feel into that, it doesn't feel masculine to me at all. It feels grandmother.
mm,
It feels like grandma saying, "No, not on my watch is this going to happen." Out of a very, protective energy of what is sacred and what is true.
mm,
So
mm,
yes, I know what you're saying, that we generally relate to fire as masculine. But I often think, when we talk about, the really accentuated power of fire, I think of Pele. She
mhm,
comes in. It's, like I work with Wachuma, and even, so many people, relate to Wachuma as a male spirit. They call it grandfather, and my teachers like, don't limit that spirit in that way.
mhm, mhm,
No, we don't limit Wachuma like that, and I find that very inspiring. I
mhm.
find that very inspiring. So I try to do the same thing for the elements, is to just open up, try and open up further, and just to allow the element itself to yeah, to come through with its feminine qualities when it's needed, or its masculine qualities when it's needed, when it's appropriate. What's needed in the field? We do the same as humans, whether we're embodied feminine or masculine. We have those both energies, obviously, and we use both energies. So why wouldn't it be the same for the elements?
I 100% agree. And it's such a beautiful reminder. We limit ourselves so much in the duality, and the energies of masculine and feminine exist in all things, in all of creation. And I love that your teachers say that about the Wachuma, because it's true with all the master plants. It's common to define a masculine or feminine energy to them, and ultimately these master plant teachers, the elements of nature, they're semi gods, right? They're spirits, and so they are not defined by the duality of the human psyche and consciousness. They're so much
Yeah.
bigger than our own constructions of the mind. And utilizing them in that way is so deeply profound and opening, because we can utilize that their medicine to integrate and balance those energies within us, because so many of us struggle with that imbalance within our own beings of the masculine and feminine energies. And I think that we can turn to nature any moment when we're needing that recalibration and that balancing. And the four elements are a beautiful example of that. The master plant teachers are a wonderful example of that. But ultimately, nature in itself is inherent, right? Is the divine equilibrium, balance,
Mhm.
harmony. And
Mhm.
ultimately, that's what we're all seeking to find once again, to recover, to remember, and to come back to.
Beautifully said, sister. Are, are. I agree with you. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So tell us, how did you find yourself on your path? How did your journey of self discovery, of spiritual growth and evolution begin? How did you find yourself in the Andes studying with the Quechua wisdom keepers? Give us the download.
Oh gosh, I don't know where to start. Like I said earlier, Ashley, my path has never taken any conscious thinking. It is literally just I've been so blessed with a very deeply carved path very clearly in front of me. I can think back to, when I was a teenager, when I was 12, 13. Back then it was clear to me what I was about. Um, Even younger than that, um, it was clear to me what I was about. Um, but every sort of mini chapter, I guess, I was developing a different part of my tools, getting different lessons, a different part of the soul developmental journey. I feel like I was pretty conscious of my path even as a real young one, like conscious of my love that came here to change and to open others, and then conscious of my abilities to speak. and lead others with my voice, conscious of my abilities. I'm just sort of tracking through, from the age of 7 to 12 here, conscious of my abilities or passion to listen, to deeply listen to, I was always listening to the one that was crying. In the playground, I wanted to be, and going to an all-girls school, it was a lot of crying. It's all institutions. This is always so much upset. And
Mm.
I just always found myself right next to it. I wanted to sit down with the one that was upset and be with them and listen. And that, I was practicing that straight out of school. As soon as I was out of school, or even my last years of school, when me and my friends would be going to pubs and bars in Sydney underage, I would be in the corner with the homeless person, with the wino, just like I would be there talking, listening. And then that developed, sort of into, I started studying, I was really an avid studier. So I was studying spirituality, avidly, as, my late teens and, 2021, really throwing myself into deep texts and practices, I started studying the Kabbalah, dipped into Buddhism a bit, but really went into ceremonial magic, actually, and the Golden Dawn teachings, recognized after a while, oof, no, that's all a bit about control, but was just so passionate about understanding the power of a human being, and our connections outwards. And then, was practicing, using my power in activism. Back then I was all about standing for nature. I still am, but I, it was sort of was channeling this fire, which was out of control at that stage. Channeling the passion into standing for Pachamama and activism, and um, it's just learning so much, really, just learning so much, and then was really focused very deeply on healing my own heart. So I found the path, I guess, or the modality or the philosophies that I now facilitate and present to others. I came across this group of teachers and teachings that were based in Australia and New Zealand back then, and really went headlong into healing my own upsets and my own heart. I recognized that if I wanted to really help people, I needed to clean up. I had a lot of upset around my relationship with my mother, a lot of upset around my relationship with my father, um, and that had created alcoholism and addiction to sex and just addictions,
Mhm.
addictions to fill the gap, really, to feel the yearning in my heart. And I was very conscious, by at 29, of how destructive it was and how I couldn't go on any longer with this, denial of the upset. And so I luckily found what I think still is the most efficient modality of healing, a bunch of concepts and one-on-one work that I went into, and just healed so much of it so swiftly. I had the bigger picture. I recognized, like, I need to do this for humanity. So I went hard. I really went hard at looking inside of myself, guided, in session work at, what I had been creating, like, what my responsibilities were, um, overt and subtle, in these relationships, and took my responsibility and turned them all around, and have been so, so super close to my parents ever since. Like, really, best mate, trained in that work, recognized the power of that work, and then went, this is ridiculous. Like, I have to learn this. This heals families fast. And so I trained in that work and was facilitating that work. And then the path of Peru just opened up. I feel like that work cleaned me out. I see it just like a car wash, That's how the teachers of that work would actually say. They'd say, look, we don't want you hanging around here. We want you in. We want you to clean up, get your windscreens clean, get the petrol in, and off you go on your purpose, whatever that is. Get out of here. Now go be powerful. And that's what happened. I cleaned up, and my like deeper purpose just like came straight in. And I went to Peru, not even because I didn't even really have a connection to Peru. I didn't know I had a connection to Peru. I went to meet an American teacher who I would have met anywhere in the world, but he so happened to be doing an event in Peru. Okay, well, I'm going to Peru then. The itinerary looks good. I'll be at Machu Picchu for my 33rd birthday. Okay, that lines up. That all feels powerful. All right, I had no idea what was going to happen. And then got there, and then just it's indescribable, really, Ashley. Like, I got there, and I was just kind of gently bombarded by messages, invitations, rememberings that I was so shocked by, I guess, that I just sort of put on the brakes. I said, whoa, like, whoa, hold on, I don't know about this, from telepathic messages from the Keros, from the land's best coca readers saying, oh, you're back. You've been here for very long. Oh, you're back. We're happy you're back. To things happening on Wachuma that I was like, what is going on here? Like, and I think I did like freak out a bit. Or not freak out, but I just was like, whoa, hold on. This isn't my truth yet. Thank you for all your thank you. But this isn't my truth yet. And until it's my truth, I'm not just going to accept it. And I don't exactly know why, Ashley, I was doing that, but I did. I just sort of, yeah, it was thick and fast, these messages, and connections and memories. And I've been here before. I know you. I know this place. I know this mountain. I know what's going on. I think I freaked out. But yet I loved it immediately, and went back to, so I spent a month in Peru that first time, and came back to Australia, collected my tinies. I had 2-year-old, nearly 3, and a 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old. And I went back to Oz, grabbed them, and then went straight back, 4 months later for 6 months with them, with the littles, and started climbing mountains with the littles, and was doing my work over there, which at that time I was using my voice a lot, helping people to move energy with their voice. There's sort of a lot of ancestral transmutation and lots of voice work, and then left again. And then, yes, it was one of the Eros Pampameseyoch, Pacos, we call them. We don't use the word shaman over there, Paco. One of the Pacos that I had connected with very gently, because he didn't really speak, any English, and certainly didn't speak really any Spanish at that point. He was only speaking in Quechua when I first met him, and he was painfully shy. Painful, like, the Queros are just so incredibly innocent and pure. They are like children. A lot of them are very shy, and this one was very shy. Like, it was hard for him to lift his eyes even. So we didn't sort of have a lot of, hey, mate, how you going? connection when I first went there, but it was very fine and telepathic. He had a dream of me bringing many, many people to Peru. He communicated to the teachings, really. He had this very strong dream that I was bringing people to the teachings. So he communicated that to a mutual friend of ours who lives in Cusco. And he said to our mutual friend, when is that woman coming back? When is that woman? And Simon didn't know who he was talking about. Who are you talking? And he described to me, oh, Chrissie, when's she coming back? I don't know. I don't know if she's planned to come back. And she's coming back, he said. She's coming back. She's bringing many people. She must come back. And so Simon contacted me. I was in Paris at the time. Chrissie, Louis Kisper has dreamt of you bringing people. Do you want to bring people here? Would you like to bring people? I was like, Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I had a very healthy community in Australia by that stage with my work, and so I was invited, to take people to Peru. It was never oh, I'm gonna do events in Peru. It was never my idea. Um, and as soon as I stepped into that work, Ashley, wow, people just flew in. And gathering after gathering, event after event, it just grew. It deepened, and because I recognized that my soul path was there, I have spent a lot of time in the Andes somewhere before, and so I was back on, in a way, back online, and back online with my spirit path there. And so my gatherings there were only ever a reflection, and still are a reflection of my path. It's not so much like, hey, I've got this all sewn up. And it's like, hey, guys, I'm going deeper. And would you like to come and be with me? So each event or gathering that I create is on the edge, for myself. Like I'm not in a fixed position, there or anywhere really. I'm a student, of course, always. So, it excites me so much to continue working there. And as I deepened my connections there, I really have magnetized just the most profound bunch over there. The guardian of Machu Picchu, Don Cucho, has become a very dear friend of mine and godfather to my son. Puma of Chinchero, who is just, a lot of people know of how powerful Puma is. He's a very dear friend, godfather to my daughter. The Queros are a total family. I have two goddaughters in the Quispe clan there, and have attended weddings up in Eros. And I don't know what happened, Ashley, but I just like magnetized like the coolest crew over there. And I just am so incredibly grateful. I have a beautiful friend. I haven't seen her in a long time, but she came to Peru with me. I didn't know her when she first came. She saw my events, came, and then we became very close. And she came back to Peru a few times with me. And she at that point in my life, she said, "You know what? I've got a nickname for you. I'm going to call you Dude Magnet." I'm like, what? She's like, "You're a dude magnet." I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm having that. I'll take that. I am, because I just have the most amazing people around me, Ashley. I'm so blessed, and I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, in Peru, Mama Ruth, my sweat lodge matriarch, and her family, I don't know, they're just the coolest people. They're just like so exciting and so solid and so humorous and so humble and so just, yeah, my path in Peru is very, very strong. Um and I don't take it for granted for one instant. I just am still kind of pinching myself that this all happened. So yeah, that was a long answer, but thank you for winding the path with me.
Oh, that was beautiful. It's so wonderful to hear healing journey stories, and I always am so amazed at the similarities, and of course each person's journey is unique and different, but there's so many parallels when we truly decide within the depths of our being to take that step forward away from the known and
Mm,
towards the mystery of life and all the beautiful synchronicities and magic that starts to come forth and pour forth. And yeah, I get to hear a lot of healing stories in my course of life work and on the podcast. And I love them. It's this beautiful
mm,
reminder that healing is all around us and that magic is all around us, and that the possibility to shed our old skin and let go of our stories and our beliefs and the construct of who we thought we had to be in this life can dissolve in the blink of an eye, and we can just as easily as we've held on to these things about ourselves so tightly, that
Mm,
with that same amount of ease, we can turn a new page. And from that place, everything starts to open up, and the people come into our life, the teachers, the guides, the techniques, the modalities, the teachings, it all starts to organize. And
mm,
it's really a beautiful thing. And continue to be humbled by it, and yeah, really, really beautiful story that you have, beautiful journey that you have had. And it's also a really beautiful thing to be received by another group of people that is not our blood. This has
mm,
also been part of my journey. I'm
mm,
in Colombia right now. I spent half the year in Colombia, and
mm,
I, about a decade ago, was taken in by my Colombian family of healers and taitas and people of the Yahe, specifically of the Inga people of Putumayo, and had a very similar experience, and it's very, it's humbling to receive that amount of welcoming and love, and to be able to find your right place in a place that you could have never imagined going
mm,
to or being, but then to understand with right timing why you're there and what you're recovering as you go, you know, transversing the journey essentially. And so, yeah, there's a lot of beautiful resonance there with everything that you shared based off what I've experienced. And yeah, there's so many beautiful teachings and just reminders, of life and how life, we're always being guided. We are always held. We're always protected, and to allow ourselves to rest in that faith, in that trust, and to give the logistical details of what it's going to look like or feel like, or all of our conceptions, to give all of that over to the altar of life, and to really, engage with life from this place of wonder, of openness, just like, how you accepted that invitation to bring people down. It's like, um really just being open to receive, being open to meet life with what we're given, and I think when oftentimes we find ourselves so closed or so attached to what we think our life should be like, or what we think we
mm.
should do, or what we feel like we want so badly, that we cut ourselves off from being able to tap into this beauty, this magic, a possibility. And yeah, so thank you so much for sharing all of it, and really just honoring you in your journey and in your path, and everything that you have seen, witnessed, felt, experienced along the course of your journey thus far.
Feel especially moved by what you just said then when you said, you know, just honoring what you've seen. But I just think about what I've seen. Like what I've seen and witnessed and what I've, yeah, been a part of, had the blessing to be a part of over the last, whatever, 15 years. Like you're saying before we got on the call, just like the incredible opportunity, blessing. I don't even want to say privilege, because that sort of, that conjures up the idea that it's it's only for some, or that it's like, no way, like, to be witnessing the healing journey, the blossoming of the heart of human beings is just like, wow. I guess it does keep us, or keeps, I'll speak for myself, it keeps me in an almost perpetual state of wonder. Like, I just feel younger than probably I ever have, do you know, because I'm like wider eyed than ever before. Because I can't believe how beautiful this is. Just, watching people, it's, yeah. So thank you for that. That really moved me.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. Life keeps getting more and more beautiful the more that we walk, right? And just the more open we are to seeing the
Mm,
beauty all around us.
mm,
Mm. That's part of, I think, what is from shows us that we're progressing or that we're evolving, whatever word you want to give to it. It's like, okay, I didn't feel this way about life 2 years ago, 3 years
Yeah,
ago, 10 years ago, right? Like,
that's
wow.
right. That's right.
This is good. This is
This
really
is good.
good.
Yes, please and thank you. Yeah, that's exactly right, like, I often say that to our groups or my students. It's like, there are levels of joy and levels of love and levels of expansion that I have no idea about. Like,
Mm,
it doesn't just, even when we're feeling amazing, that still is probably vastly limited relative to how much a human being can actually hold and perceive, in light, in the darkness, in all of it. But it's yeah, that blows me away. I just think, God, can it get deeper? Can it be more moving? Can my heart get cracked even more? I'm sure. I'm sure. Let's go. Experiment. Let's explore.
Taking a quick break from today's conversation to share with you a short message, let's talk about plant medicine integration. Integration work is the action taking and the grounding into the fibers of our beings, the ancestral and cosmic wisdom that the plants give us. It is the manifestation of every vision. When we do it well, it becomes the true ceremony, the ceremony of life. The Four Visions Plant Medicine Integration Program was created to support you in learning how to cultivate the unique process of translating the healing and wisdom received from the plants into your daily life. Our personalized, self-paced learning platform was developed to suit each person's unique availability and commitment levels, with as much hands-on guidance and support or autonomy as you are needing and wanting. Our in-depth curriculum is comprised of a robust digital content series, live monthly workshops, private spiritual consultations, and community connection. Our faculty is made up of renowned spiritual teachers, Indigenous wisdom keepers, and integration specialists, each with unique backgrounds and decades working with the plants. We created the curriculum we wish we had had years ago when beginning our plant medicine journeys. Some of the topics we cover throughout the program are immediate integration basics, cultivating your spiritual practice, building a Plant Allies toolkit, how to make spiritual payments, how to deepen your connection with plants, working with Hape, Sananga, and cacao as allies, the foundations of microdosing, the art of forgiveness and reconciliation, spiritual hygiene, and plant diets. If you feel called to cultivate your integration practice or are interested in nourishing your spiritual studies and deepening your relationship with plants through a one-of-a-kind transformational container, we welcome you to visit fourvisionsintegration.com to learn more and sign up. And now back to today's show. And ultimately, to see everything, to witness all the pain, all the sorrow, all the separation, all the fear, to see all the infinite layers and levels of human existence, and to still feel joy, to still feel hope, to still feel this radiant gratitude for this gift of life. That is also a mastery, and is not easy, right? And so many of us can see the pain, but we get so caught up in it, and um, it blocks our ability to step into our service and to step into
Mm,
our potential and
mm.
um, achieve, what we came here to do, to support, right? And,
Yes.
we could stay talking about the beauty of life for the rest of this conversation, and I definitely wouldn't mind. But at the same time, on the other side of that is, the pain and the sorrow. And one of the elements that really called to me and stood out to me as I was preparing to connect with you was learning about your work, specifically with Project Angel. And it really touched me when I was reading through the site and learning more about what you are accomplishing and how you are supporting. And I would love to open the space for you to share with us a little bit more about what Project Angel is and how you came to decide that you wanted to be involved, and how it took place, how it was brought into form.
Thank you so much. I would love to talk about Project Angel. So, you know how I was saying earlier that my path has just appeared. It was the same with this work. It was not work that I went looking for, although at that time I was working closely with Sacha Stone. And if anyone knows of Sacha Stone's work, he has created, through his International Tribunal of Natural Justice, that I was coming into work with closely for a while there during lockdown. Sacha Stone has created the best commission on human trafficking that exists on the planet. He did that in 2018 in Westminster in London, and I recommend that anybody look up all the testimonies, the expert testimonies. They're all on YouTube. So I was aware of the industry, more so probably than most people. And I've never been afraid of the darkness, on the planet. In fact, I have a great role with it, and that's where my spirit name sort of comes from, Fire Main. It's about going into the darkness, flying into the darkness to light it up. I that's part of my path, like taking people deep into their darkness, like right down into their deepest shadow and trauma and whatever. Like that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Comfortable territory for me. And so when this path appeared, it just felt very, very a natural progression. But what happened was that this woman, River Ash Dawn, so she is the survivor of 44 years in the torture trafficking rings. Well, the first 22 years of her life, she was in the sort of the rings, the Midnight Mason rings, which is just the most horrific stuff you can imagine with children. And then, at 22, thought she was going into a safe house. And, after a few months there of them rehabilitating her, they drugged her and she woke up in a cage and was then sold into the torture rings for the next 22 years. So at 44, she escaped, and that's a story unto itself. And she got herself back to America, and she was living outside of the industry for a few years, and it was hellish because, the slaves are so incredibly programmed and conditioned for torture and slavery that our world makes absolutely no sense to them. And most of them will kill themselves. They'll be hunted and killed. They'll be recaptured. But this particular woman, when you said to me, the mastery of still being able to feel joy in amongst her horror, that is this woman. This woman is an absolute angel and master. I really believe that. I don't put her on a pedestal because I know that positive judgment is destructive. And she's become, my spirit daughter. She considers me her spirit mother. And she's also a dear friend. She's also my teacher at times. But I will safely say this woman is an angel and a master. And she basically was watching the television in America, ready to go back to her master, the last master that she escaped from, the very next day. In her short time of being out, the woman that helped bust her out took her to hundreds of practitioners. I think it was like 280 practitioners over 3 years or so to get help for her. to get help for her trauma. Psychologists, psychiatrists, Reiki masters, even all sorts of therapists or healers, and not one of them would work with her. Every single one of them said, "No, I'm sorry, your trauma is too much. I can't help you." She was ready to go back. And the night before she was ready to go back, she saw me on TV. So I had shot a docu follow series, like a, what do you call them, like a reality program for TBS that was about healing. So it was a retreat. It was, how many of them? 10 people came in, and had a 3-week journey with me. And so it was, that was on the TV. She saw that. She saw me, and she immediately felt something. And she said to herself, this woman can help me. I think this woman can help me. So her carer, the woman that bust her out, wrote to me, said, would you consider meeting, my friend? She has, she's been involved in human trafficking. I said, absolutely, of course. She said she's very shy. She will want me next to her in the meeting. No problem, whatever. So we met on Zoom, and I don't even know what happened, but it was an immediate yes, yes, absolutely, I will walk with you. And she wasn't expecting that. She wasn't expecting that. And that started our journey. And, if I'm honest, I'm feeling the emotion. If I'm honest, it was really tough. Like, it was really, really, really tough. I mean, I don't, I'm the first one to say we mustn't compare our journeys, because her journey is incomparable, what she went through. But walking her soul out of the darkness, for the next year, or it's been, 3.5 years we've been walking together daily. But that first 6 months to a year was really, really intensive. Like, this beautiful woman would still go into catatonic states of being tortured, basically, on a soul level. So, unfortunately, these people that are involved in these torture rings, they're magicians, they're black magicians. They are very, very learned and practiced in the magical arts. And so, it was a job. It was a job at reclaiming her soul. Before doing any healing work, before doing anything, I had to first, I worked with my masters in the Andes. We had to reclaim her soul from their grip daily. She was being thrashed about on a daily basis in the dimensions. And so that was a task. But we did it. We did it. She's here. She's like, she's unrecognizable, absolutely unrecognizable. And the journey over those months and the next years was a matter of just, I had to bust her out of America. The mafia and the authorities, they're all involved, in these rings. She's still hunted. But I know that they will not capture her now, because her frequency has lifted so sufficiently, and she's so loved, and she's so protected and in the light and in her power now, that it's, forget it. They can't grab her anymore. But it was touch and go for, even getting her out of America, getting her renamed, getting her, they were literally on her heels, like, it was so touch and go. And we got her out of America, and, even where we took her to, she was hunted there. The Greek mafia were there. And we were just moving her around, and it was, yeah, it's been a huge journey. Because she never, I mean, in one of our first interviews, we did a podcast years ago. At that point, she, had her face blurred in the podcast, and um, but she said something like, Mama, you taught me what love is. I didn't know, and that actually just can cracks my heart so much that, like, since infancy, she was in a hole in the wall and used for torturous and satanic ceremonies, and like since an infant, and through all her life, she didn't know what love was. She didn't know what it felt to be loved. She'd never had a birthday celebrated. She'd never had a birthday gift. Like this, to walk with her and show her love and to rehabilitate her, essentially. And the journey is not complete, of course. So she's still on a powerful healing journey, but it has been so, so incredible. And so as a result of our journey and our connection and my prior um, passion, for natural justice and involvement, a little bit with the ITNJ and human trafficking, I was just like, well, we've got to create something. This is Project Angel. We've got to create a place where people like you can come, because that was a thing. People that come out of that kind of intensity of trafficking. I mean, there's obviously different types of human trafficking. There's sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and it's, there's experimental trafficking, there's military trafficking, but the torturings are the most diabolical, most unknown, and the most lucrative. And very, very, very few people make it out, and almost none of them will survive. And so River, in itself, she is. I mean, I truly think that she's the world's biggest whistleblower. Um, and rehabilitating her and getting her on track to a place where she can use her voice, can speak powerfully, is no longer hunted, an energetic match, let's say, to captivity, to recaptivity, is so important. And so Project Angel was born out of that, mainly, and it's her passion as well. It's like, what do you want to do? Like, why did you make it out? Like, what is your purpose? And so that is actually developing more quickly than you will realize, her power in the dimensions and what she knows she's actually here to do. It is, we can't probably talk about it here. It's not probably everybody's reality. But she is one powerful human being and a huge player to the reclamation of our planet and the exiting of the dark soul families that have been reigning, terror, really, on our planet. She has a role with moving them onward. And it is just the highest honor to walk with her, to know her, to be her friend, to listen to her story, to support her. And so that's what Project Angel is. We have plans to have a shelter in America in time, and in Peru, where people can come and be, and just drop, just drop into the arms of love and into Mother Nature, and to be healed, with the plants, with our teachings, just with love. Just with love. When I got off the phone from that first Zoom with River and was just so blown away with the very little she told me in that call, very little, I immediately called my teacher and dearest ally, who she has passed now, but I picked up the phone immediately and just said to Liz, I've just met a woman who has been in cages for 44 years. And Liz immediately burst out crying, like immediately, just the movement of grief that came out of my teacher. And Liz just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed when she heard this. And I thought that was a very appropriate response, that this is happening. And yeah, for whatever reason, again, it just lined up on my path. It wasn't something I went looking for, but it made perfect sense because I have a lot of warrioress energy, that fire. A lot of warrioress, a lot of fierce mama in me. And like it's been a journey knowing even where to place that in this mix, because I have brushed shoulders with some really very unsavory beings and characters as a result of working with River, in the dimensions, and had a lot of black magic thrown my way. And so we had to pull Project Angel at one point. We had to disappear, completely disappear. Pulled everything from everywhere. I deleted everything. Like we had to, it was life or death actually, and we had to, yeah, disappear. And then over time, we just kept strengthening, River, and then it was okay. We're ready again. We're ready. It feels like we're ready to come out, and now that we are, and that River is speaking very powerfully. We've got some beautiful support coming in. Adam Jackson of Sacred Sons just a couple of days ago said to me, Chrissie, we want to get behind a charity, and we reckon Project Angel is the one, and I'm just, I've just burst into tears with him, like at the offer of that support, because it's desperately needed, like men, powerful men, to stand up to this industry, because the authorities are all involved, the judicial system's all paid off by it. They really, and that can bring hopelessness in people, but it shouldn't, because those systems are very weak. It doesn't matter if they're controlled, like the power is outside of those systems. And to have more and more people willing to listen to River, to share her story, to shed light on this industry. I mean, really, she is the world's leading voice in it, because she knows how it operates. From where all the auction houses are, where she knows it, the whole thing. So we want to get behind her. And this is an invitation to anyone listening who is passionate about human trafficking. Please support Project Angel. It's a tiny little organization at this point, but the power in it, and the voices and the energy that's behind it, with our keros, who are, guardians to River. They're all, Kucho, and there's people that they're with River. We've got her protected and supported. And yeah, now we just want more and more of the public to get on board, even if it's just to listen. Like you said earlier, Ashley, like we do need to look at the shadow. We do need to have the courage to look at the illness, to really look at it before it can heal. We need to see it. We need to recognize it. We need to acknowledge it, with as much bravery as we can. Otherwise, it's not going to heal. It's not going to go away. We do have to turn toward it. And so Project Angel is a really great way for that to happen, because we have, a survivor, or a woman that's been right in there. River has not one shred of hatred, of revenge, of anything like that. She only has, and only had since I met her, deep compassion for everyone in there. That's how I know she's an angel, huh? Because she doesn't actually wear any of that energy. She only has her own humanoid upsets and trauma about the treatment, but she's come out clean, from the way those industries want to twist. She hasn't come. I don't know. I'm speechless actually when you think of who she is and what she's walked. And how beautiful and loving her heart is. It's incredible. Yeah, it's really incredible. Yeah, I love her very, very much. I'm so proud of her.
Bless her, bless River and her brave spirit, her courageous spirit of divine truth. May the truth prevail. May the light prevail. Infinite blessings of protection upon her and upon you with this incredible mission that you have united together to complete, and so deeply humbled and grateful for the opportunity to hear through your word this story of resilience, this story of immense bravery. Bravery isn't even the right word. And
Yeah.
to be able to walk this life with that much light after seeing so much darkness and knowing only darkness for that many years.
Mm.
It just leaves me without words, truly. It's just like, if that's not a reason to keep living and keep showing up in ultimate love, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really the greatest inspiration.
Mhm.
If anyone's feeling down, we just need to look at this woman.
Mhm.
Yeah, puts things in perspective.
It's not easy to talk about things like the torture rings, like human trafficking. It's much easier to pretend it's not going on, that it doesn't exist. And the reality is that it does. And if we want to see a world where our children don't have to don't have to face that as part of the reality, then we have to look at it. We have to pay attention, and we have to be part of this radical tearing down of one of the darkest systems ever known to humankind. And so I just really honor your path so much, and honor the work that you are doing with River, and how many beautiful lives you are going to be a part of resurrecting and reclaiming. And I really just am feeling so grateful that Project Angel exists and that you are committed to this. And I just really want to say that I stand with you, and For Vision stands with you. And I'm personally going to be holding in my prayers for you, for River, for the organization, and for this incredible mission that you are stewarding, and invite our community to contribute, to be a part of it too, and to support through whatever ways we all can, through prayer, through financial contribution, anything that's within reach, because this is so needed. It's so needed. And this is part of waking up. This is part of committing ourselves to the path of light, is becoming warriors of light and calling upon a courage that we didn't even know would ever need to be called upon, to be able to face the truth of what we as humanity have created together. And this pain, the separation, ultimate forgetting of the truth of life itself, the ultimate dishonoring, disrespect, restoring once again the reverence for life, the reverence for the sacred, the reverence for this gift of being alive, and the reverence for humanity in our essence, as sacred, as something to be held as sacred in every occasion, in every situation. And so I'm just sending all my prayers of light and protection, strength, blessings upon blessings to you and to River and to all of the people that you help and are involved in the organization. And I feel inspired, for Visions. We do a lot of giving back to Indigenous communities, because that's what our mission is: the preservation of ancestral wisdom and traditional wisdom cultures. And we typically focus our contributions and our giving back to that specifically but I really feel called to offer a contribution. And I want to invite all of our listeners to join me in this contribution and say that any donation over the next week that is received from the release of this podcast, Four Visions is going to match that donation up to $5,000. And so let's join together and let's contribute, and together we can raise $10,000 for Project Angel through our incredible community and incredible network of light warriors, prayer warriors, believers of justice and of light and the power of healing, the power of redemption.
Thank you,
So
sister.
praying for all of this beauty to come full circle for all of humanity at this time.
Very, very powerful prayers, and I'm just been so enjoying receiving them. And yeah, we need it. Yeah, we really need the support. So thank you so much. It's so beautiful to feel supported and just to watch this gently growing, more and more people finding out about this and what it means to River and her vision. It's huge. So thank you so much to you, Ashley, and anyone listening. Really, every little bit helps a lot, actually. A lot. Yeah. Thank you. God bless you.
Wow, I'm just like shaking with just the potency of what this really is and what the work that you are doing means to the world. It's really so touching, and I'm just feeling that. I'm feeling really so grateful. So grateful to be able to answer the call and be a part and open my eyes and face the truth, and really stand for the light.
Thank you so much. A beautiful way that people can do that is, we have a little Instagram page for Project Angel, and River is beginning to teach awareness classes, which, I think she charges 20 US for, and that goes toward, food and rent and healing for survivors. But those classes are profound. Those classes are profound because really she probably is the expert on it. And she teaches in a very beautiful, powerful, gentle way about just basic information, basic facts about the industry that just help us to get a handle on it, like all of us that really don't know anything. So I warmly invite people to join, one of River's upcoming little Zoom calls, because it is through the knowledge of, like I was saying, the knowledge of it, that the awareness grows, and then with the light and the awareness growing on it, we can look to dismantling it better. So that's one way that people can help and donate at the same time.
I love it. Beautiful. I will definitely include that link to Project Angel's Instagram page in the show notes, and information to donate and learn more about all this incredible work. And just really so beautiful to have this full circle conversation and touch on so many different layers. And I know that we haven't really spoken too much about the mana movement, and ultimately, maybe in closing, you can share a little bit about that, because, I think that there's a lot of people listening to this conversation who would love to be involved with you, and learn more about the incredible work that you're doing in service to all different people.
Oh, thank you. Well, the mana movement it's just really a bunch of humble people that are all, that are here to restore love on the planet, and activate, so, we're spread out all over the world, but probably concentrated here in Australia. But we have a lot of, tribes people in America. And we put on gatherings, the way I see it is actually we're like a love school Do you know, like we teach a workshop called the Humanity Workshop. That's the main potency of what we're doing at Mana is the Humanity Workshop. And it's 10 concepts, 10 keys, we call it. And this is a workshop that I am a guardian of. I didn't create it. My late teacher was one of the creators of this work. Um, as I think I said to you, I came and did the course to heal myself, 16 years ago, and have not found anything as efficient and potent to date. And so we offer that in gatherings, in 5 night gatherings where people put their phone down. We collect the phones and we eat together the most incredible food. We sit around the fire. We're enjoying beautiful music. We enjoy cacao. At some gatherings, we enjoy wachuma. At some of the gatherings, we enjoy Andean sweat lodge. But the weight of our gatherings is this workshop, the Humanity Workshop, which is basically restoring love in individuals and in families incredibly swiftly. These 10 keys relate to the heart, the dynamics of the heart. It's not an intellectual course at all. There's no zero writing. It's literally oral transmission from our hearts to yours. And we tell story. We talk a lot about our lives using these keys. What happens? We're walking the keys ourselves. So the transmission is pretty swift. And these keys really illuminate what you're doing or what you're not doing with your heart that is creating blocks. Whether that's in your money flows, whether that's in relationships with your blood family, whether that's in your purpose, your passions, your life, like whether that's your health. Wherever we're seeing stagnancy or blocks, it relates to our heart and what we're doing with it. And so these 10 keys, I like to think of them as the dynamics of the human heart, the metaphysics of the heart. And so they're very simple. We have children come in and do this course. It's not new age, it's not spiritual, it's really boots on the ground, very simple, very powerful, humble stuff that actually meets you wherever you're at. If you're very advanced on your spiritual path, if you're a total beginner, these 10 keys will move you greatly no matter where you're at, because they are powers, so to speak. They're not capped mental ideas that you learn once. Oh, yeah, I've got that.
Mhm.
They are powers that only ever continue to deepen and get more and more subtle and powerful. I've been hearing these keys for 16 years now, teaching them for 12, and I'm still deepening on every single one of them. Every single one of them, there's more inspiration to extend out more with my heart. So that's what we're doing at Mana, where we create these spaces, that people, I don't know, there's something very, very unique about what we're doing. And I think it's because the team are actually walking these concepts and never in a fixed position. Each one of us is continuing our healing work with teachers, going deep, humble. And so our gatherings have a particular frequency that you can only really experience if you come along. But I know it's very unique in the world. Like we're told that all over the world, and every time, like, what is this? What is happening here? And I know it's a space that we hold. Like I said, earlier, my passion is to see people's power. I know it. I just know how powerful their energy and their heart is. The minute I met them, doesn't matter what they're up to. And me and my team hold that very freely, let's say. There's no demand or expectation on anyone to be powerful, but we hold it. And in those spaces, what is not us melts very swiftly. And so, yeah, I just love to invite people along to experience what we're doing, because it will only empower you greatly and nourish you greatly, no matter where you are on your path, no matter how much learning you've already done. You haven't done this workshop. This workshop is So I haven't found anything that comes close, not even working with the plants. Like it doesn't come close to these 10 keys. Um, and the results are humble. Do you know, it's about actually restoring love in families. Do you know, like actually coming back in with those siblings that you're not talking to? Like that's the work. You know, it's humble. It's so yeah, we see beautiful things happening, and that's what we're all about. You know, and the ceremonies. You know, we're chulo chaqueros, me and my team, and we're passionate about Sweat Lodge. I tell you what, we're so passionate about it. We love it. We miss it so sorely. So we just, oh, we're all about it. But yeah, we're just a bunch of people that love, really, the Mana movement, you know, and we're all very different. And but we yeah, we've found a common language in, you know, really having our eyes fixed very, very strongly on the bigger picture of what humanity is about, what we are and what we're here to do. We keep our eyes on that. So that's the Mana movement, and we are open to everybody. This summer we are so in San Diego. We have actually a women's sailing journey, which is very unlike the rest of my work, which is usually very intensive. You know, like let's go. This sailing journey for women in Croatia is all about space and
Mm.
not processing and beauty and women just actually taking time right out from saving the world and just having 2 weeks of intense beauty and romance, you know, to fill our cups so we can get those, have that space, you know, to receive the messages of what's next, you know, what we need to do. We need to create space, and we don't often get that. So that trip is about space for women, beauty and space. So that's happening in Croatia in June. And then we're doing the humanity workshop in one of our 5-night gatherings in Ireland in July. Um, we're in Peru for something that is just Mana alumni only, but we're in Peru in July. And then, yeah, we're at Convergence, Sacred Sons. Do you know, I'll be coming along to that and leading the women at Convergence in September and doing Sweat Lodge, taking the women through sweat there, which is a great honor. And I can't wait to be there
Mm.
and meet all my brothers that I haven't met yet and sisters that I haven't known yet. So that's our schedule up until September. Thank you for asking. But we do some online work as well. Not a lot in this period coming up, but yes, those are the events that we have on the books.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chrissie. Wow, what an incredible conversation, episode. So many different layers, and we really covered the spectrum there.
We did the whole heart spectrum. Beautiful. Rainbow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Amazing. I love you. I love talking to you. Want to a cuddle?
Same here. I hope we get to cross paths. Maybe I will see you at Convergent. Possible. Yes.
Yeah. I did just want to mention also that if anyone is coming to Convergence or would like to, you know, if we have a little link through our Mana page to buy tickets to that, and 10% of the ticket is going to Project Angel. So we're giving our portion, you know, of our affiliation straight back to Project Angel. So if anyone would like to give in that way, they can also do that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We will include all the details in the show notes and links and all the information for everyone to follow up on the many threads of this beautiful conversation, and just really sending a lot of love to all of our listeners, to all of your teachers and guides that have supported you in coming to this moment in your life and in your path, honoring all of the incredible people that have been part of your work, your mission, your offering to River, for the fundamental role that she has played in your life and in this incredible service and work that you're doing together. And just sending tremendous gratitude and blessings to you for this space, for this beautiful opportunity to connect.
It's so much love in return. Thank you so much for the invitation and the depth of your care and the depth of your acknowledgement. It's very felt.
On behalf of the Four Visions family, we want to thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you have enjoyed this conversation and have gained seeds of wisdom that will nourish your spiritual path. If you have a moment, please leave us a review, as this helps us to reach more people. For more resources and information about the plant path, and for the highest quality spiritual tools and botanicals, please visit us at fourvisions.com. We are grateful for your support and look forward to continuing this journey with you all. Until next time.